So in number 11, I'm just going to rewrite it to start out with. Instead of the way you see it there, I'm going to write it as 2x plus y over a, and not divide this time, but multiply. And I'm going to put the a squared on the top, and on the bottom I'm going to put down 3x plus y. And you'll notice right away when you do that, that the x plus y's go away. You guys see that? And on the bottom, I really have a to the first power, and on the top I have a to the second power. That means left over in the numerator, when I simplify, I will see a 2 from the first fraction, and from the second fraction, an a. Because this a squared is really like a times a. And if it's a times a, then one of those a's canceled out with the a that was on the bottom. And then on the bottom, all that's left over is 3, which is close to 1. Yeah, I'm recording again. In number 12, the division is written differently, so we're going to fix that. We're going to write it like this. 2x over 3, and instead of writing down divide by 4x cubed over 3, I'm going to write it as multiply by 3 over 4x cubed. Now, if you can't figure out how to cancel extra x's top and bottom or other things, you can always write it out in its prime factorization. What do I mean by that? What I mean is I could do the following. I could write the top stuff as 2x and over 3 from the first fraction. In the second fraction, I can write it as a 3 on the top, but the bottom I could write down as 2 times 2 times x times x times x, if that's what helps me. That's called the prime factorization. And then you can see what's canceling out if you want. You can see that one of the 2's on the top and one of the 2's on the bottom are gone. You can see that a 3 on the top and a 3 on the bottom are gone. You can see that an x on the top and an x on the bottom are gone. And a lot of people think, oh look, everything's gone on the top, and so I got 0. That's not true. It's 1. So don't forget that. That's very important. 1 times all of that stuff, leave a 1 on the top. On the bottom I have 2 times x times x. That's 2x squared. And so that's your final answer. In number 13, I see in the first fraction an x squared minus 1. That is the difference of 2 squares. So I write it as x plus 1 and x minus 1 being multiplied. That's the first fraction. On the bottom I see 2x plus 4. I could also factor that. That would be 2 times parentheses x plus 2. Remembering that I'm going to write divide as multiply, whatever I see on the bottom of the second fraction, I'm now going to put on the top of the first fraction. And I notice that the bottom of the second fraction is x squared minus 4. That's also a difference of 2 squares. Or in other words, x plus 2, x minus 2. So remember, the denominator from the second one goes to the top. In the top, if I factor that, which now goes on the bottom for multiplying, I will have x and x. And then to get the negative 2 out, I need 2 and 1. In order to get a minus out for the x, I need the minus with the 2 and the plus with the 1. And that's the factorization. And now I look for things that reduce. So when I'm reducing, I see an x plus 1 up on top. I also see 1 on the bottom. I see an x plus 2 on the bottom, and I see an x plus 2 on the top. I see an x minus 2 on the top, and an x minus 2 on the bottom. And when I'm finally done with this problem, what I notice is that the only thing left on the top is x minus 1, and the only thing left on the bottom is a 2. Okay, our last one in number 14 looks crazy. Remember to separate them out by top and bottom. So this stuff is my numerator, and this stuff is my denominator, which means I'm going to flip the second fraction. So keep that in mind. The green one's going to go upside down when I multiply. Let's concentrate on the yellow one first. If I look at the yellow one first, what ends up happening in the yellow one is that x squared minus 1 on the top is the difference of two squares. So I'm going to rewrite it as x plus 1, x minus 1. This is in the yellow on the top. On the bottom, the x squared plus 5x plus 6 turns out to be in factored form, x and x. And then in order to get the 6 out for addition, with the 5x in the middle, I have to go with plus 3 and plus 2 when I factor. So all of this blue stuff is matching up with the yellow highlight. In the second fraction, the one that's on the bottom that I'm dividing by, remember when you divide, you flip it upside down. That means automatically the x plus 3 has to go on the top. And when I factor the other stuff, the x squared minus 3x plus 2, which now goes on the bottom, it turns out to be x and minus 2 and minus 1. Because that's the only thing that will produce a positive 2 for a constant, but a negative 3x. And now I can start reducing things. So I look to top and bottom. I see the x plus 3's go away. I look top and bottom, and I notice that the x minus 1's go away. And then that's it, right? So my final answer, when I get done, is going to be an x plus 1 on the top. And on the bottom, I leave my x plus 2 and my x minus 2. If you wanted to, I suppose you could write it as x squared minus 4 on the bottom. I will take either one.